Good evening. It's Radical Earth Heart Resonance on the 17th of November. And we decided we're not going to go live. But we are going to record this. And it's important that we all just relax. Just relax. And know that wherever we go tonight is part of a larger plan that none of us have really foreseen or planned. We're going to trust the Earth Heart Resonance to carry us on her waves. And the Schumann resonance, by the way, is pretty steady today. And so we're going to use that calmness to really tap deeper into ourselves and our relationships with Mother Earth and with each other, how we might be expressing that, some of our hopes perhaps, some of our visions. And with those thoughts rolling out of my physical body, let's just take a soft breath. Just a soft breath. Knowing that we are safe here in the heart resonance of Mother Earth. Even when she seems disrupted or what we as humans might call angry or frustrated, her energy emotions are not that dissimilar from our own. They show up in different forms. They show up in different frequencies. But we, as earth beings and water beings, cannot escape. We cannot run away from or disappear into any part of Mother Earth where she doesn't recognize where we are or what we're doing. Sort of the all-seeing eye, although we think of that as perhaps heavenly and looking down upon us. What I'm feeling tonight and perhaps all day is having been seen from within the heart of Mother Earth. So allow yourself to acknowledge that and thank her. We thank you, Mother Earth, by whatever name you cherish to call upon her, knowing that she answers to all languages. She answers to all living beings. She always has, and she always will. She's in our landscape as we are in her landscape. There is no separation. There's no better than or less than. There is equanimity. And it's only when the energy frequencies change that we feel that shifting or instability. And she wants to remind us all that no matter how unstable we may seem at times, She is our anchor. She is our point to ground to connect with, through the grass, through the trees, through any part of her existence, the rocks, the rivers and streams. This is her message tonight. To tap into the truth that there is no separation. And that in these changing times, she is here to guide us through our energetic fields. Not just the ones we learned about in school, but the higher frequencies that some of us are now just beginning to tap into, or to hear, if you will. And she's asking us to listen closely. She will not scream. She will not chastise. She wants us home. Home in her heart. Her children. As one beautiful, resonating field. We're coming home. And we will be welcomed. So take a few minutes to rest there and return gently to our gathering here in the Zoom room, knowing that you are truly loved. Perhaps for some more than you have been in your entire lifetime. And we are loved because we are love. I bow to you, Mother. I thank you, Mother. I honor you, Mother. Aho. Mutakviwasan. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Charlie Riverman. Welcome, Nana Claudia. Bless you, dear sister. And Brother Tyhson, Sister Joyce. Looks like Imani has left the building, which is, we're sorry to miss her. We will miss her. Yeah, she says, kind regards, have care for the water on the practical levels this evening. It's freezing here tonight.
Yes, we were talking about that. I said, you're not in the dome tonight. And she said, no, I haven't had time to go up there and I must go up to check the water. So she's doing what she needs to because Mother Earth is calling her to do what necessary. to do.
It's perfect, Tyson. So tonight we send our love to Shelley, who has had a very exhausting day, I believe, on many levels, and couldn't be with us tonight. And she wanted us to think about the future here of radical Earth resonance and what that might look like. So in our conversations tonight, let's tap into that as well. So Tyson, I'm going to ask you, what has been going through you today? Because it's an amazing energy day today, and I can't tell you why.
Yeah, it's been an exciting day for me. I may have to get political because, which I normally don't do, but I listened to a video that I found really interesting that has to do, which might be the strategy that I was playing out with President Trump. And I found that very enlightening and very dramatic and informative, knowing that we're at a crossroads in this time and place, particularly in America. So I can't help but have some sense as an intuitive and an empath to know that at this crossroads, important decisions need to be made. And so for me, it's exciting to, in that video, to have a little bit of a forewarning or foreboding, I guess, about what may be coming down the pike and confirming what I'm feeling intuitively. And so I found it exciting. I found it rewarding, that and humbling. And let me just dwell on the humbling. For all the things that I may think intellectually may or may not be happening in America, and all the things I may be concerned about this or that politically, it's out of my hands. It truly is, and always has been, and always will be. We're on a course that's set by higher principle, by God, by source, by the divine, and by Mother Earth has her own agenda. And it will be fulfilled whether we believe or don't believe, whether we're Republican or whether we're Democrat, or whether we're, atheist, or whatever our political stripe or belief is, that the world is about to change before our and beneath our feet. And so it's exciting times, and we all chose this time to incarnate, to have the front row seats of this incredible time of personal and planetary transformation. So I'm excited, and the biggest thing for me in the message is to stay out of fear, stay in our heart, be connected to Mother Earth, and we'll always be in the right place at the right time to make the next best step. So it's a news of knowing that the storm clouds are brewing on the horizon. We're into some bumpy rise, but also knowing in my heart of my heart we're on track simultaneously. So it's interesting sense of what's going on, of calmness in the center of the storm. So that's what's going on in my life. And we just finished a class on looking at a dowsing protocol to help with people to do earth mapping or earth stewardship on people's properties or in the bioregion or in their landscape, and what would that look like. So we had looking at spreadsheets and how to get permission from the landscape diva or the elementals before doing this work. So that was an exciting class to be part of as well. So yes, the day was really, really full, back to back to back to back. And here we are, we get to share time together, Charlie, with wonderful people, some of which we know and some of which we're about to meet. And we're very fortunate to have this opportunity to create community on Zoom. Wow. I couldn't think of anything more exciting than that, of being able to have an opportunity to to meet and talk and share with like-minded people around the world. Aren't we blessed?
That it is a blessing. It is a blessing. And I thought of that earlier about coming on and, what was I going to talk about? And I said, I don't have to really talk about anything, just to be here with people who are actually understanding a bigger picture of life. Even though we may see it from a different point in the circle, it's such a beautiful energy to be in. And if you had one word that you would put into the field right now, what would that word be?
Just profound gratitude to be here at this time on this planet.
Okay, well, we'll give you two. Profound gratitude. How's that? we can break the rules all we want here because there are no rules. Profound gratitude. And that's, it's funny, we get an expression from everybody, and I just share it. When that word came in, mine was resurrection. So and so I think it's tying in with it's, and this is the weaving. So I'd be glad to hear from anyone else who would like to share anything that they feel rising in them at this moment about the day, about the energy, about their maybe their journey with Mother Earth or the elementals today.
I'll share.
Beautiful, Susan.
From my dark cave. Aliveness is the word. Aliveness.
I like that.
And information I have is a lot, like Tyhson was saying, and Charlie, your opening connection to Mother Earth. The Mother Earth is a sending out, her soul is awakening, and she's sending out new frequencies to us. And like you said, she is calling us home. And I think we all feel that maybe today at no point. Like, part of me wants to know what the video Tyhson saw was, but another part of me doesn't. I'll just stay connected to Earth. But there's definitely something, the Earth is calling us home, and everything is connected and interconnected, and all the animals and plants know, but now the people are starting to feel it. And if you just sit still for a moment, we can feel the soul of Mother Earth, and with great reverence. I mean, I'm kind of like, whoa, the mother is waking up, like a mother bear in the cave, like, whoa, don't stir it up too much. But yeah, just a new sense of aliveness, a new frequency we can attune to that will shift. There's enough of us that'll shift in the direction, like Tyhson said, the Earth has its agenda, the Creator has an agenda, or maybe they don't, but the master plan, whatever we believe or feel, it will move forward. But if we're here to feel with that aliveness, then we have a great chance for coherence and unity and transformation of all humanity through the connection to the Earth. So
And our voice disappeared into the darkness.
Thank you, Susan.
We missed the last part of that, Susan. You went into gobbledygook land, but I think we got the feeling.
I'm laying down, ever since the time change. Well, and my dog passed away a couple weeks ago. That was just kind of, I don't know, it took a lot out of me watching her pass away for a month or so. And I tell you what, it gets dark and I'm just ready to lay down. I may not go to sleep, but I'm here and I burned a candle. Maybe you can see the candle.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I don't know.
Let there be
dogs
light.
and Yeah, it's actually very, it's bright enough in here for me, so I just didn't feel like sitting up. And so anyway, call me I'm connecting to the earth. Oh, and the wind. Sorry to come back in. The wind's amazing today. And yeah, everything's just very interesting today. And I'm very in awe of Mother Earth and all her power and glory and reverence. I'm just in reverence. So thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. No, thank you. This is what came to me today is how do we speak from our hearts? What comes up? And how this container, this group we call Radical Earth Resonance, has so many different aspects to explore. But when it comes down to the basic core, it's about trust, and it's about willingness to listen and to speak, and feel comfortable and know that we're not speaking with harm. It's just, you just mentioned Mama Bear. I mean, what a beautiful symbolic message. What does the mama bear do for its cubs? This is the picture of the powerful mother who will give up her life for her children. And in the same vein, we have Mother Earth, Mama Bear, Mother Earth, who, as I light up, I probably look like I got Mount Everest popping up all over me. But it's, this is what I'm feeling from Mother Earth. And I've felt it all day, and I didn't know how to put it into words. So thank you all for being here to allow me to witness what I'm experiencing. I'm whole with that. And yeah, love to hear from whoever feels the energy rising.
So I guess I would share that my word would be peace, because I think I've just had a more peaceful, a peace-related day. Did some rather mundane chores around my house and, like paperwork kinds of things. And then joined a writing table with Oriana and Elizabeth. Had, talked about the fires that are going on in the Amazon. And in fact, I would share my writing if you folks would like to hear it. And then I actually took a walk. Sorry about my phone beeping there. I took a walk, and then Charlie, this one is for you. I don't normally watch TV at all in the afternoon, other than Sundays. Sometimes I will watch a movie if I'm tired from the week or whatever, but I watched Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Wow, wow.
And if you have not seen it, I think you would.
Obviously, I need to see it again. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to shut my ringer off here. And I apologize, I did not do that beforehand. So anyway, that was kind of a little treat, I guess, for myself. And then I read from this book. And I don't know if you're familiar with the author, but it's Eknath Easwaran, and Conquest of Mind is the title of the book. And I just really appreciate his writings and have read quite a number of his books. And I read that book probably, I'd be guessing 7 or 8 years ago, and it just called my name today, because that's the way I feel about books is, I might not do any reading for quite some time, and then all of a sudden one of them calls my name and I pull it out. I've had books that sat on my shelf for probably 2 years or more after I purchased them, thinking I would read it, and then just all of a sudden I go to them. So actually, while I was reading, I dozed off for a short time, and then when I woke up, I don't think I was sleeping very long at all, but then something just told me, go on to Good of the Whole, so I did. So here I am.
Perfect.
Thanks. And would you like to hear my writing from?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
brief. It's brief. So as I said, this is with the thought of the Amazon fires that are going on in mind. I am drying up. Please help me. I used to be a rainforest, moist, lush, green, oh so green, with dewdrops resting on my leaves. The fires are killing me. Please hear my call. I'm running out of time. If I had legs to run, I would, but where would I go? Where would I be welcomed, loved, and nurtured back to vibrant health? Seems like it would take the whole world. World, please stop. Stop for a moment and listen. I am not a merry-go-round created for your pleasure only. Please love me and heal me as only you can do. And I am complete.
Oh, Joyce, thank you. That sent chills all up and down my whole body.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. I'm sure the forest was. It's so sad, but I hope there is something we can do. I hope it'll stop. And
Me too. Me
I
too.
know you're working on that, but I really feel like you definitely spoke for the Amazon. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And for the mother, we're not
Right.
a merry-go-round for either the rainforest or for Mother Earth, right? For our own pleasure. I love that image. So thank you very much, Joyce. It touched my heart.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I add my same message to you. I encourage you to publish it on Facebook, on your page, or share it out to the communities that you are involved in. It's interesting. Many of us are being messages from the elements, from Mother Earth, from the trees, from the water. We're all receiving messages, beautiful messages like yours, of not so much chastising people for what they're doing, but helping them to realize that they're part of the solution, rather than condemning them for being part of the cause.
Yeah.
And those messages really need to be sent out, because even the most judgmental of people out there who are just angry in their own hearts, they may make a fuss over it, but it has no power over the preciousness of the source of where those words came from. And they came through your heart. And thank you for allowing your heart to be open to receive those messages. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And beautiful Nana Claudia. I don't know how to pronounce the rest of that beautiful name. And I'm not going to insult you by trying.
I'll jump in.
Please speak your name into this field. It would be just so beautiful.
It's Ish Balam Kame.
Ishbalam Kame. Thank you.
Yeah.
Translation, please, because I know part of what that means.
Yeah, Ish Balam is actually, Ish is the prefix that a lot of us use to just decipher that we're feminine.
Yeah.
A lot of the females will put the Ish. Also, Ish Balam is the jaguar.
Right.
Balam is the jaguar, specifically the Ish Balam, the feminine jaguar, which is the destiny of my cross. And I am Kame, which is my actual sign that I'm under, the day Lord that works with me. I've had many experiences with the jaguar in different ways. So usually when you're initiated or in the Mayan communities, you will take your birth sign on as your name, and sometimes a quality or definitely the number, the tone, and your sign. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Today has been, wow, what a day. If I could sum it up when you first asked that question, Charlie, my word was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. This is probably the first, I don't know, how long have we been here now? 10 minutes? Maybe longer. Ooh, I think I've had a whole 20 minutes of just sitting. And it was a heavy duty morning here in the connection field. I was part of that session from 11 to 1-ish. As someone who has been encountering some friction and some of the some tough times here lately, as of late on the connection field, I'll just say it that way. And someone who is also overly empathic, it was definitely overwhelming and emotional on so many levels. But I mean, what a perfect day and a perfect group to do it with. Because this group definitely wants to see change. This group talks in so many different ways and different levels, different depths of being, feeling, experiencing, evolving, and what happens at the micro and what we get accomplished in these smaller groups really does affect the greater whole, I believe. And the healing that was done today, the seeds that were planted today on the day of Ganil is the day of seeds. It's about the ripening, it's about the harvest, and it's also paired up with the number 6, which is about stability and balance and family. And we talk about feeling like family or making these really in-depth connections here. So it was a perfect day to get your hands dirty into that dirt, and really stretch ourselves, and plant those seeds deeper and aerate some of the ones that may have been suffocating, so it was an interesting start to my day. Like I said, a lot of heavy work, and then it was followed by more of my own seeds. So I've been bouncing around with taking care of clients in the store, getting them crystals and stones and cleansing things and stuff that they need for their own spiritual growth and maintenance and upkeep. And then I went to more mundane things and dealt with the bank and insurance stuff and family responsibility unit today. I was in over it, like, wow. Yeah, Keneal days. I take a lot of the energy of the days very seriously and try to get through and do as much as I can in relationship to all of them. So today I was really just kind of planting those seeds, working the ground, um, developing workshops and talking to a couple of other people where they want me to participate in certain rituals and gatherings. I'm going to be getting really tied in tightly with Six Nations here at our reservation up at the Grand River. And I will be one of their Mayan elder female timekeepers. So I was working on stuff like that today. So just, yeah, really just gardening a lot of those seeds today. So overwhelmed and now finally settling into peace. So thank you. And blessings to you all.
Thank you for all of that busyness. And I say busyness in the highest sense of being busy, like the bees. They're very busy, but the hive depends on their busyness. And so we as the hive or your community here, thank you for all that you've done today. And I think everyone, however you have contributed, and as we went around the circle, we can see that each one of us have contributed in a unique way. And this is what Mother Earth's heart resonance is really bringing through me now, is to discern where are my skills or my tools going to serve the best. And it's not an easy process. And I'm sure each one of you can attest to that, to come to that point, to know that you're being called because of your ability to connect and communicate with that which can't be seen, felt, smelled, or tasted or touched. This is our gifts. These are our gifts. And it's time that our gifts are put to use. And yet, for me, you think about this over the years and you work in different modalities in different ways. And then you feel like you're in this place of ambivalence, or you don't know where you're going, or do I turn here? Do I turn here? Well, yes, I can go here. Yes, I can. Yes, they all align. Well, where am I in the middle of all this? So we sometimes feel this hollow. And I think it was on last night's Japamala call, or a call before the other night, where, or maybe it wasn't that, it was, they talked about the hollow bone. It was Ariana, perhaps in the Crystal Cathedral. Yeah, that's where it was, about the hollow bone. Although she wasn't speaking of the hollow bone in that sense, but she was talking about the marrow being liquid. And I've always held the belief, although I have no great teachings from any individuals, that the hollow bone is when we can empty ourselves of all obstructions so that the true self can be flowing freely. And in that moment, it has the opportunity to travel to through any part of our body and enhance it, enrich it, and have it work 100% for the goodness of all. And those are teachings from, I have to say, from my guides. And they're not based on any structural teaching, although they may align with and they may not align with that. And right now, this is the time we're in, is to trust that emptiness, that hollow bone, that feeling of that. It's an expression. And not worry, because Mother Earth is really with us this time, really backing us and encouraging us and reconnect. We are reconnecting, we are opening to that channel within us and knowing and feeling that connectedness. So those are my thoughts as each of you spoke, and it's amazing. So the words that I wrote down was, and I can't read my writing, isn't that? I do that all the time. I write and I can't read it. What was it? Something gratitude, Tyson. What was yours? Positive gratitude. What is it? Pro.
It was exceptional. I don't know. It was gratitude.
Oh, it's yeah. It was yeah. Anyway, it was pro something gratitude. Mine was resurrection. I got another word here. Crossroads, aliveness, Mother Earth, soul call, connection.
There's a jaguar in there somewhere.
There's the jaguar, and being called, and peace, and awe, and reverence, and overwhelmed, and emotional.
And the bear. Don't forget the bear.
The bear. I'm a bear. Yeah.
The mama bear. Yeah.
So here, this is global Earth Heart resonance in its fullness. And I think that's the message for all of us tonight, is rather than, at least for me, trying to figure out what am I going to say, or how am I going to say it, or what am I going to do, just sit back and say yes.
I love what you said about the hollow bone. The image I got over the hollow bone is it probably was the first instrument that was ever created, was probably the hollow bone. With the wind passing through it, there was a note that was struck. Then somebody discovered that by carving notches in the bone, they get notes. And all of a sudden they had another way of communing with Ik, which is the wind, the god of wind, right? Which in the Mayan tradition is, for me, one of the most powerful speakers is the wind. The message is the wind. So being the hollow bone, you get played like a reed, you get played like an instrument, you get played by the passage of the wind passing through you, and allows you to speak your truths in a way in which you're divinely connected. I guess that's how I would describe it. Other thing that you asked that coming to mind is, what do we want to do, or what is the meaning, or what is the Earth Heart Resonance call all about? And the image came to me as it's like the well. It's like the well in a village. It's the gathering place where people come for the nourishment, the water of life. And they come to fill their bucket, which is empty, to be renourished. And while they're filling their bucket from the well of life, the waters of life, they get to talk with each other about the day and what's stirring their soul and what's meaningful for them. And out of that comes community, the community of the gathering at the well. And then they take all that nourishment from the well back to their homes and to their families and to their communities and spread it further. So to me, this call is like the well. It's a gathering place. It's where we come from busy, busy days, doing many, many things, to be with each other, to share time and space, and drink from the well that nourishes all of us. So those are the words that I have, and now I'll be still. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm kaput.
For the moment.
Not for the moment, yes.
Yeah, really lovely, Charlie. And Claudia, you look lovely today. You just look amazing. As everyone does, but Claudia looks very renewed. And the flute, the reed, well, what Tyhson, what you just spoke was amazing. You know, so and then the hollow bone and oh, and the wind. When you were speaking of the wind, I was gonna say, oh my God, I was gonna butt in. The wind that's going through, it's like blowing through my cabin, which is probably not such a great thing, but it's not cold. Like today it blew and it was cold, but there was just the sound while you were speaking, each person speaking. And I'm like, is that my washer? Is that my dryer? Is that my refrigerator? What is that sound? Is that a tornado? Is that an airplane? And it's the wind. The wind is communicating in amazing ways. So I don't know how I could have, if I was home alone, I probably would have been afraid slightly. Like, what is that? I probably would have opened the door and, but it's like, oh, okay, I got that now. Got that message, the wind and the earth. And the hollow bone, well, I don't know if you've ever the Bhagavad Gita, but make yourself the hollow reed so Krishna will play through you, like
Mm.
and if we're all clogged up, if our hollow bones are clogged up, the spirit can't move through us and play us, and we're each a unique flute or bone or reed. So, Charlie, wherever you got that from, that's a deep ancient, that's wisdom of what we as humanity, and we get distracted, our bones get filled up, you know. So that's what I have to say. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. It was absolutely beautiful to come to the well.
Mm.
Oh, Watakuya.
I agree. I love that hollow bone thing as well. And one of the things that we always say as a medium is that we are that kind of open channel, and that you have to kind of be that clear and open channel so that things can kind of filter through you without, your own perception, without your own stuff, or that ego trying to decipher and pick apart, what you're picking up, for it just to be as pure and as natural and just allow it to flow. It's funny. I'm not sure if you noticed my reaction. You said something about not worrying or something like that, and James was just kind of walking by, and he's like, "But worry's what you do best." And I just laughed, and I'm like, "Yeah, shh, shh, shh." And he's like, "No, but seriously, like you can actually teach people how to worry, Claudia." And I'm like, "Stop picking on me." It's like, yes, I can be somewhat of a worrywart, and just kind of making sure that all aspects are covered and what's going on and who needs help and this and that. So he was teasing me on this side. But it's funny because when we are those clear channels, and you talked about that space and that kind of not knowing. And when you're that open channel, it's amazing how quickly spirit will fill in those next steps or those next sessions. I was just partly doing that today, just kind of like, okay, after all of this, now what? Like, really show me some direction, out of all of these different things that I do, I'm burning the candle at both ends. It's like, come on, spirit, and immediately, bing, there was the first direction. And then it was like, bing, there was the second direction, and it was confirmation to the first. And I'm like, okay, and we all started laughing here in the house. And James is like, you got to really be careful what you put out into the field, what you put out to spirit, because they tend to really respond to me, and I manifest very quickly. And I'm like, no doubt, eh? And he's like, didn't you want a break first? And I'm thinking, yes, I kind of wanted a little bit of a break from what I've been doing and where I'm going. But before I could even think about not thinking about putting it out to spirit, just in that openness as to that what next, you know, it's already playing out. I really do believe that the more we can just kind of be in that open state, that hollow bone, and just letting things filter through us, we will consistently be led to that right place, to that right time, to that right person. You know, that's saying divine timing, you know. So thank you. It was a great share tonight.
Yeah, as each of you talk about that, my vision was of the water flowing through the hollow bone to move things from one place to another. And if it gets too much, it's like your drain pipes, you know, you get too much guck and grease and dirt in it, they get clogged up. And then it's just a trickle at the end. And whoever needs what we have to offer at the end is thirsty. And it was just impressing upon me, you know, how important it is to flush whatever it is, and release it, and know that it doesn't matter how it arrived there. And this is sort of my teachings to a lot of people in counseling, is it doesn't matter as much how it arrived there, but that you recognize that it is there and needs to be cleared. And then the healing can begin for all of us, as when we can recognize that there is an obstacle here. There is, we don't have to know exactly what it is. You can shapeshift it into whatever form you want, but just know that this rock has to move before I can continue my journey. And I go through this over and over and over again. So it's an old pattern for me. It's not something that I'm just coming from some place of, you know, oh, I got it all together and know everything there is to know. It's just, you know, this is what I go through. And that's what this time is really about right now, is this shift, this period. Is you started off with the political, there's an end result of clogged pipes, of non-hollow bones. I mean, literally, and you can see it and you can feel it, and it's pointing the fingers and hollering and yelling at each other is not going to solve any problem. All it's going to do is solidify that muck that's in the bones. So again, coming back to water, right? We come back to water all the time. We are the water flows. And yeah, every little drop that you can allow to flow through that bone in whatever condition it is, allow it in, allow it in. And this is part of the earth heart resonance. If we take that thought form and place it into Mother Earth and say, oh, Mother Earth's arteries are clogged. Her hollow bone are not so hollow either. How can we assist? So my intention has always been, since my death, well, it was even before that. I realized that the other day. I saw a picture at a art exhibit for John Lennon. And I remember when I was probably 13 or 14 years old, reading John Lennon's book of poetry. Everybody loved him for his music. His poetry was just, there was a part of him that hit me when I was, 14 years old or whatever. And it was about peace. It was about peace. And as abstract as that writing was, I felt at peace that somebody understood what I felt. And this is, I think, what the Earth Heart Resonance is about, is getting us all to feel both uncomfortable and comfortable and being able to choose between the two from a total conscious level rather than a partial conscious level. So we call it the awakening, we call it the arising, we call it resurrection. We can put all of these wonderful words to this energy that we're feeling, and every one of them describes it in the moment that it's occurring for each of us. And so if there's anything we take away tonight from this, is to open and stay as open as you can. And there's going to be times when we're going to get smacked or something, we're going to want to throw up something. It's okay. It's only a moment. And we're more powerful than that now. And we have the support of not spirit guides, but Mother Earth. And we're beginning to have the support of each other. And so that's, as we move forward in radical earth heart resonance, I think that's where I see, I mean, we do dowsing, we work with the land, and we work with, these are all parts of this. But I see another level of sharing with each other that supports each other in each other's individual presence. So I don't know where that came from. Right here, my heart. Yeah. Hello, Linda. How are you, dear heart? Beloved sister. We see you. You can't hide.
I hear you. I'm right here.
Good.
You.
Welcome to this beautiful call tonight. We're just sharing what our day has been like in reflection to Mother Earth's energy, and people gave a word that came to them, and we're all kind of weaving it all together. So if you had a word for today, your experience today, or what you're feeling right now in this moment as a word, what would that be?
Hi.
Hi.
That's my word.
That's your word. Okay. We can play with that.
Keep it simple. Well, I was not out on Mother Earth today. Which makes me sad. But I've been on a lot of Zoom calls, and this most recent one was finding a word about the best holiday memory that we had. Either Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, we're coming up into the holiday season, and how it's changed and what was the best memory. And so the words that came up in remembering them were joy and gratitude, and my house smelling like wonderful food. And it was 1 year ago that my youngest granddaughter was born. So not being on Mother Earth, I think I've just shifted into grandmother in the house to bring all that good earth energy to them. I had a beautiful maple tree. Well, I didn't, my housemate yard had a great big maple tree. And she moved in last early summer and wanted to cut it down. So she did. We kept a great big 7-foot piece of her trunk that my son-in-law is going to make their dining room table out of. And I kept some of the little helicopter seeds, and 2 of them landed in flower pots that I had sitting on my patio. and they just started to root, and they're growing. So I put all the pine needles that I could around the base of these 2 little stems of a maple trees, and they're losing their little leaves just like the fall. And I've covered them with pots, and if it's sunny, I take the pot off so they can be in nature. I don't know how to be a mama to a baby maple tree. I don't know if I need to cover it or let it just be what it does in nature. And so it's giving me a real intimate view of these big maple trees and how they grow. Do they grow without anybody paying attention to them and caring for them? Yeah, I think they do. But they seem so delicate and little, and I really want to keep it, because when they took that tree down, it just broke my heart. And I'll tell you a quick story about my 5.5-year-old granddaughter, the one who's sitting there with a little peace sign. She has learned to love trees and hug trees because of me. And her mom took, my daughter took a video of her the day that there was a terrible lightning storm, and across the street was this big tree, walnut tree. And it cracked the tree, and it was falling towards the neighbor's house, and so they had to take it down, but they left the trunk. And as they were sawing the tree down, Stella was looking out the window and just had tears coming down her face, because she could feel, oh, this tree. So, you know, I love her for that. But what we did was start taking over little fairies and putting them on the trunks. And the woman who owned the house started planting little plants around just the base of the trunk. And it became a huge fairy fantasy land. And all the kids in the neighborhood would come over, and no one would take anything. They would just keep adding to it. So that's what we would do. I don't know how, I guess that's my Earth memory story, because I just wasn't out there today. So I'm sharing my memory of being on Mother Earth today. I hope I didn't step out.
No, what a perfect message of radical earth heart resonance.
Right.
I mean, this is what we're talking about, is seeing it show up in children naturally, who are not thinking about this, who don't have a hollow bone that's filled with mud, you know, just pure divine connection, heart to heart, without hesitation. And your first word that caught my attention was joy. And that's what I'm seeing and feeling, as much as those moments make me go like this, because I know what your granddaughter feels, and we all do. But her innocence of being so connected to her heart and the heart of Mother Earth, that she can be that radical. And in the midst of all of that, create something new. And that was the first word that I came in with, was resurrection. And so you know, we're all resurrecting, whether it's a tree that's been cut down or a human heart that's been injured. They're all equally precious. So I'll be quiet, and whatever is touching somebody else's heart, please rise.
It's so nice to see Linda. And Linda, you are on the earth, just so you know. So you might not have actually stepped out on it, but you're on it. So, and you're sharing was so timely and perfect for
Thank
what
you.
we were talking about. And yeah, we're talking about the mama bear, and you're the mama bear. We're talking about mama bear Earth, but
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
I know.
Thanks, Susan. Well, I
Yeah.
did
Thanks
step
for all
out.
you do for your kids.
Thank you.
Yeah, but go ahead. I'm done. I'm complete.
I stepped out on my front little patio by the front door because I took a spider that was in my house. I always have to take it outside. I don't kill the bugs that are inside as much as possible if I can, and lead them outside and let nature do what it will do. You know, sometimes it's like, here, you need to be lunch for a bird, but you can't be in my house and I'm not going to kill you. So at least you'll feed a bird. Yeah, so it is doing just the tiniest things out of respect for life. I think that's the best way to say it.
Interesting, you talked about the tree being cut down, and I live in a place where there's active logging, so I'm always blessing the logging trucks as they go by with my one-legged brothers that have been cut down for toilet paper in this crazy world that we live in. But I was given a feeling for the first time in the last few days that every tree, like the tree you're talking about, that the spirit, that energy of that tree is still there. Like they don't depart, right? They are still inhabiting where they were. And so that gave me courage so that I can talk to the trees that are no longer in the landscape, and they will talk back to me. So that was a new awareness. You know, I just see desecration about all these trees being cut down, but it gives me joy to my heart to know that they are still there and still can be communed with, right? Even though we've removed their body. So anyway, that's something that I just learned that I wanted to share.
I'd like to pop back in. Your story, Linda, about your granddaughter and adding the fairies and everybody else just kind of coming and adding different plants and the fairies and how it just kind of, you know, transitions and it takes that life of its own. And Charlie, you've been collecting words tonight. So with both of those, I actually want to add 2 more words. I was talking to Tata Bartolo, which is my, for lack of better words, my Mayan godfather. He's my elder in the Mayan tradition, my godfather. And I was talking to him just last night, and we were talking about 2 words. Because we had them in the Mayan tradition, we had 7 prophecies, and those prophecies has pretty much have come to completion. And we've been left with 2 words. We were gifted with 2 words, and one of them is alerta, and the second is esperanza. Alerta meaning alert. So this is what the elders want us to start teaching and start talking about. Alert and esperanza is hope. And I wanted to share those words because today, the conversations that we had, like I said, even though they were difficult, they were very, very empowering. They were very healing. There's a lot of good that can come from it. And the children and the things that I've been seeing in that area, you know, all of those are very hopeful. And in these trying times, those are those sorts of things that we need to grasp onto. That's the last thing that you actually lose, is that faith and that hope. So again, they talked about being alert and needing to be prepared and be ready, but at the same time, esperanza and the hope that is out there. So those are the 2 words I'd like to add tonight.
I'd like to say hi to Linda too. It's good to see your face again. So it started a couple of years ago, that the emerald ash borer moved into like the Platteville and surrounding area. And I had a really nice big ash tree in my yard that had to be cut down because it was so diseased that, it was going to die anyway. And it really made me sad to have to, have someone come in and cut that tree down. And a lot of trees were cut down in Platteville that were sizable trees. And anyway, I so relate to that. I know there's a huge tree on a walking path that I go on by the water, and for some reason it always calls me over to give it a hug, and I don't really feel that trees talk to me, but there's some kind of a special connection there. I guess I just look at them as sacred, taller beings. And so I'm glad you brought trees into the conversation tonight.
I absolutely talk to trees. And there was one grandmother tree who would talk back to me. And she was the basis of this new ebook that I just published called Dance of the Forever Winds. And it's about listening to the wisdom of the trees. Wow. So you're talking about trees, and I'm thinking of all these different connections that I have. And one time when my children were little, not my grandchildren, my own children were very little, we were out for lunch, but a storm was coming. And we could hear a crack of thunder. I mean, it was the biggest loud crack of thunder I've ever heard. So the storm is coming. We finish lunch, we get in the car, we go home, and I see that the big tree at the bottom of this little hill where I lived at the time, great big old, I think it was a maple tree, it had been struck by lightning. And you could see how the bark, how it spiraled down the trunk of the tree. I mean, it was just bark was everywhere. And I thought, maybe that's what we heard. My poor little doggie, we came home and her tail was permanently stuck down between her legs. She was so scared. So it hit that tree, and I knew, wow, it was really damaged. So I called some tree people, and they came out and said, oh no, we're gonna have to cut it down. And I said, no, I don't think you will. And I went out there every day and I hugged the tree. I hugged it and I talked to it. And one summer came and the leaves didn't really come back. The next summer came and they were teeny weeny little leaves. The next summer came and they were bigger. And the next summer came, this tree got life back into it. And you could see the bark curling back in from that spiral where it was just naked, the bark had blown off. And yeah, that tree was just, it came back to life. So I guess that's just part of what I was saying. If you want to put the word respect in there, it just respected life and the life of all the breathing beings. And trees are definitely, I mean, people have different connections with nature. Some people love crystals, some love the waters, and I would have to say I'm a tree person. So, and they do communicate. They communicate through their root system, right? They're always talking to each other. So check out Dance of the Forever Winds. It's a story about the leaves telling the stories, coming together and dancing together, and it's really like a story of diversity and finally coming together, and that there is no death. Yeah, okay. So thanks for bringing that up, Joyce.
Thank you, Linda, for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, And Susan, if you see her in the chat, would like to know how to find your books. So,
I'll let me see if I can get the link going before we say goodbye here. Gotta find it. It's on my website.
well, I'm going to be here to roll right into Japamala anyway.
Are
so
you okay?
I'm here forever. Good night.
Yeah, and Linda, if you want, I'll email you and email me the link. Phone, and I can't really save the chat.
Oh, you can't?
I'll remember. Dance. Are your? I can take a screenshot. Phone. I can't save chat. But is it? Did you say it's an e-book or a B book?
It's just a.
What did you say, Dan?
It's a short story. It's like 17 pages. It's an ebook, electronic.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Right.
cool.
So it's not.
That's why I asked. Dance of the Forever Moons. Thanks, Linda.
And
what I can do is I can click on it and say.
Yeah, you can save that. So and a portion of a large portion of the proceeds will go to Good of the Whole, by the way. So
I love the synchronicity of the day as it unfolds. And I just had a little thing that came through. I like little things that show up. It said, synchronicity are the stepping stones from the spirit. So, but the synchronicity about the tree was in geomancy course, Boots on the Ground today. I was talking about how trees, the power of trees. And I was saying in one of the geomantic maps I did on a property that I could tell which pine tree was ready to be the lightning rod to provide the lightning to come through it to revitalize the soil and bring the spark of life back to the grasslands. And you could see the ones that had been struck before, and you could see this one, or the message I got from it, it was ready for the next lightning storm. I thought, wow, this is amazing that this tree knows its destiny and is prepared as a gift to the landscape, to that sacred site, to give its life, to recharge the land with the energy from the lightning. So anyway, that was my sharing today that I was sharing with the group. So I'm complete.
a stepping stone for sure.
Save. Also, Tyson, how I know one.
You're
I
breaking
don't know.
up.
There was a.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm going to go off audio or video. Is it any better?
That's
Yes.
better. Yeah.
Okay. There was a tree in Wisconsin where I grew up. We had the Dutch elm disease, and a lot of the towns they just monocultured elm trees. So when the Dutch elm disease came through, whole streets were just wiped bare, and they were huge trees. They had to be cut down. They'd fall on people's houses. But it pretty much like wiped out all the trees in town that were big and lining the streets because they just all were Dutch elm. And there was one in the backyard, and my dad had, was cut down, but he got that root out of the garden. And oh my God, it must have taken 8 years or something for him to finally get that root out, And I was always like, Dad, just garden around it, And Tyson, how you were talking about all the trees and they're logged for toilet paper up there in Canada. I mean, but we can get toilet paper elsewhere. But all the roots are still there and communicating. And if that land was left alone, some trees would probably sprout back up there.
Absolutely.
So it is just amazing when the roots are left behind and they're still in communication. And I don't know. It's just very interesting to think of.
I know that he's feeding,
So
even this stump is being fed by the rest of the forest. And I, as an environmentalist, one of the things in the sadness of Mother Earth going through what I thought was a lot of pain, I was told in guidance not to worry that everything, all the species, all the trees, everything that we think is lost truly isn't lost. It's just been withdrawn from this plane, from this dimension, so that we will wake up to being eco-spiritual stewards of the land. And that once we awaken and understand that we are one with all of life, then they'll all come back. It's not as though they're lost. They're just in another dimensional reality. And that gave me hope, right? That there will come a time, and then there will come a place where we will have a Garden of Eden once again. And so for that, I'm truly grateful. It was a great vision and a great download that gave me stillness in my heart that had so much pain as being an environmentalist and not being able to wake up humanity, because humanity was not ready and absolutely did not want to wake up. So anyway, I'm complete.
Beautiful words that I can't say I probably read them before, but I never heard them spoken in light of what we're talking, eco-spiritual stewards. And when you said that, Tyhson, it really rang a bell with radical earth heart resonance and what the connection of why we do what we do, whether we douse, whether we work with grid lines, or whether we work with the trees, or whether we work with the water, or we work with anything. We're these eco-spiritual stewards. Thank you for that definition. That puts the two halves of this skull together in one point. And I think that's where, this is where we really are going to see the change. I had a message from the water the other day, and I posted, I don't know if I could find it, but it was what the water was speaking to me. And in the end, it took me back to a childhood song that had the words in it, "Teach your children well." And I'm not going to go through the rest of the verse. But what it was a time in the history of humanity where people were really suffering at what was going on in their lives. On the second line, I'll say to teach your children well, their father's hell will slowly go by. And I grew up with that song, and I look at in 70 years that I've been on this physical plane, I realized that where we've come from and where we are now it's a slice. It's a slice. And this resurrection that we're going through is the beginning of another slice. And the message of children who, as you said, Linda, your grandchildren is already there. They don't need us so much to teach them, but to honor them and to encourage them to be eco-spiritual stewards. So, and in the meantime, we get to play right along. A tree story, I have a grandmother tree down by the river. If everybody looked at it, would say she's deceased. She's not deceased. And her roots speak, and her roots hold that bank of the river. And there was another river that got collapsed in a storm maybe a year ago. It was a smaller tree, it's where its location, its life is what it is, but it landed on the branch of a younger tree, and that younger tree has just been that branch has been weighed down. And I said, I've got to save that branch. It's been my mission for over a year. And I push on that bigger tree to just say, just rest in the water. You're fine. You're okay. And it wouldn't budge. And so we had this big windstorm recently of 57-mile-an-hour winds. And I walked by the path of the river with my dog, and I said, Lily Bell, the river's calling us, let's go. So she, of course, loves to go. She ends up in the river. And I pushed and pushed, and I could see that the soil was soft, and it was manipulating, and that tree that was leaning, I said, I can do this. I know I can. No, I can. And I don't know where I got the strength from, but the strength and persistence was, I got it off that tiny little limb. And the relief that was experienced in the air, both the tree that ended up now laying in the water, knowing it's in its place of rest, and that younger tree being released from the burden of carrying the weight of that tree. And grandmother tree right behind me, watching it all, saying, thank you. It was time. This is radical earth heart resonance. The earth speaks to us, the trees speak to us, those stones speak to us, the grass speaks to us, everything has the ability to speak to us. And that's the joy we need to share with others. So in my path as a water protector, as I don't like the protector, but guardian, I teach people to do blessings, simple blessings. So the same thing can be done for trees. Blessing trees. So in the river walk with Shelley, I was her guardian as she was doing her water walk. But I would bless trees, and I have a connection to birch trees. It's an ancestral thing. It comes from Ireland. It's an Irish trait in me. It's an Irish heritage in me to be with the goddess Bridget, who is the birch tree is recognized as the emblem of the goddess Bridget. And so that's inherent in me too. And every time we stop to do a blessing, there would be a birch tree. Not a singular birch tree, a birch tree with 5 or 6 birches coming out of the same. I mean, it was like a flower. I mean, it was all, and every time we stopped to do the, blessings every day, we would run into one of those. And what I do, and I tell people all the time, is take crystals or take cornmeal or make an offering of something and just sit with that tree and just offer a simple blessing saying, thank you. Thank you, we respect you. We may not understand you. We may not treat you, kindly, but know that there are some of us here who do honor your presence. And so the same thing with anything, the rocks, I do it. Yeah, people think I'm a little beyond hope. Well, I am. I'm far beyond hope. I'm in reality, a reality that's just so alive. Everything is alive. But rocks, trees, wherever you are in nature, if you feel a connection or a call, it calls your attention, it's talking to you.
I don't know if you can see the portrait. You see her face?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Big bulbous nose and a squared off chin and her hair.
Yes.
So that's just the face, but she had her whole body was sitting in the tree, and she was holding a staff of wood, and you could see her knees. It's like she was in the tree sitting, and you could see her knees and her legs.
Mm-hmm.
This is her head. And we have some other things on our website of grandmother tree, but here's her eye, and here's her big nose, and there's her scraggly tooth smile, and her little knot of hair.
Oh, beautiful.
Grandmother tree. And honestly, she saved my life. She talked to me when I didn't have a connection field people to talk to. Long time ago. So I just wanted to show you her portrait there.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
I love the stories of trees like that and all the beauty that you can see in that. We had a dead tree at Stoneheart that I found 2 years ago, and it was on Mother's Day. And I was limbing and I was doing work out in the forest, and I was being called to just veer off that way. I'm like, what's up? So I just kind of followed the lead, and I walked that way, and I saw this kind of Y branch, and I'm thinking, well, that's can't be what I was called to look at, So I kind of got closer, and right beside it, must have been still about 10 feet tall. The top part of the tree had already broken off, and the base, like I said, 10 feet was still there. And I just immediately started to weep when I saw it. And we left it up for a while and honored it. But my partner, James, suggested that just because of the ants and termites or whatever could be there, it could distort what we had seen. So we cut the piece off, and I cut rings between the section of what I had seen and the stump. I cut rings, and I figured that I'm going to wood burn something on them, and I'm going to gift them out to specific people. We call it the mother tree. Now my pronunciation probably is like really sucky because of that Spanglish, but when the trees get those bumpy things, the burls, burls. This is one like that, but it's open. It's not covered, and it was an open burl, and it absolutely looks like a fetus in the womb. You can see the face, you can see the little shoulder, you can see the legs, how they're crouched in the womb. Like, I've had 3 children, the ultrasounds, and you look, and it absolutely, it's about this, it's about 1.5 feet big. And you can totally see this open womb and the fetus sitting there. So we called it the mother tree. We took it in, we washed it, we put it into some soapy water to remove anything that might be eating it away, and dried it out. And then we're going to be putting it back in that space and creating a garden space for it to honor any unborn children or children that have passed. And it's very close actually to our ancestor altar. But yeah, nature was just amazing. And everyone I've shown sits there and says, oh my God, that's a fetus. And I'm like, okay, it's not just me. People are seeing it without me even pointing it out. But it's spectacular. And I love the way that you framed the picture. I've got pictures of it. And you've given me the idea to do the same thing to be able to honor this mother tree. And the rings, like I said, I'm going to carve and send it to women who have lost children. Is that a piece of bark there that you've got on the outside that frame?
Tiny little piece of bark. We have all kinds of things. Oops, here it is. We have all kinds of things made from her bark. I have a necklace with feathers, and it was strung through the bark, little square pieces. So she's lived on, but there was a tornado that went through and damaged the top of her. I'm telling you, this is a true story because this tree meant so much to me in another house in another town that I lived in. I used to walk down there every day and talk to her. And when the storm came, the town was going to cut her down, and she was at least 200 years old. I knew she was one of the oldest trees in this park. And I called up the park department and I said, please don't cut down that tree. You don't understand. There's a woman in that tree. Like, what? And lo and behold, someone else called. It was a school teacher, and she said, there is a figure of a grandmother in that tree. Please don't cut it down. So between the two of us, we were going to just go down there and say, no, you can't do it. So they cut right above her head, right above her head. And she's changed in the last, oh my gosh, it's been about almost 20 years. And I go down to visit her now and then, and she's totally changed. You can't even see her face anymore. The bark has changed, the tree has grown, the top has new leaves coming out and new sprouts. but she was there when I needed her for many years. So they live on. It's like, you can't cut the tree down. There's a woman. And I was so sincere. I was going to really just, I was turning into Julia Butterfly. It's like, I'm going to sleep in this tree. Don't you dare. Cut her down.
Women
That's how I
sleep in
felt when
trees,
James
per
told me
se.
we should cut ours down. And he's like, but it's already dead. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. How about if it regrows? And he's like, but you might actually lose like the perfect image of that fetus over time. It'll shift.
Mhm.
And I was so torn as to what to do. So I totally resonate with your tree and your story, Linda.
Yeah, thank you for letting me share that. I just haven't talked about grandmother tree in such a long time.
Aw.
But she was the impetus for the story.
Do you have pictures of grandmother tree on your website?
I know we have something. I'll have to.
You should sell them as prints or something.
You put yourself on mute, Linda.
Okay, here I am. I don't know if she's there. Hey, Bill, do we still have grandmother tree videos on our website?
Yeah.
Where would I find her?
What?
Where?
Is it that same link that you gave for the ebook?
Well, that's my website.
Okay, then I will look for the videos on the grandmother tree.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. That's all right. You don't have to do it right now. We'll figure it out somewhere. Oh, that's not it either. If not, we'll put the video. I'll find you the video somewhere. It's really cute.
Oh, well, we'll have to visit your website and we'll have to see grandmother tree. And so thank you for showing up and sharing and bringing us all this joy and remembrance of our own neighborhood and path with Mother Nature and Mother Earth. Yeah, so we're right now we're what about 9 minutes in heading towards Japamala, but there's no rush to stop. I think if we're complete, I'll do somewhat of a closing and end the recording, and then we can talk. And Japamala lately hasn't really been starting. Well, it can start at 10 o'clock tonight because Catherine usually doesn't come on till quarter past. So with that said, we'll just. Is there anything else that's coming up for anybody at this point? I love to leave at this good point, but you know, it's yeah, the coming together of each of our hearts. Please share it, and I'll do a closing.
Well, I just wanted to thank everybody for sharing tonight, and the stories about the trees are amazing, and yeah, just really beautiful stories. So thank you, everyone.
And may I add something, Joyce? I'm gonna communicate with. I know how you're doing that SOS for the Amazon, and really that writing really does have to go out there, I feel, because it's so powerful. And I don't know if you know Martin Field, but I'm sure you could create a beautiful video. You guys could do a beautiful presentation and get that out for the Amazon, because I feel it would pull some people's heartstrings that maybe could help the cause. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Brother Tyhson, have you anything to add to the beauty of this evening before we close?
Just thank you, everybody, for showing up and sharing your heart and all the stories of hollow bones and trees and tree spirits and Mother Earth and resurrection and rebirth. And to me, this is the well of renourishment. And I hope we choose to continue to gather at the well every Tuesday at the same time, the same place. Until then, let's all be well.
Indeed, indeed. Gathering at the well. What a beautiful phrase. We gather at the well. And thank you to the Divine Mothers present for your lifetimes of keeping the waters in the well sacred. And we, as males who were the guardians, got caught up in our own ego minds, and we have returned now to understand the importance of the water. And as we spread that word into the world with radical earth heart resonance, it isn't about who has what or what is better. It's about coming together, knowing that it is all of us together, one water, united and flowing from source to mother. It is what is really the real rhythm keeper of the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And we need the trees, and we need the rocks, and we need everything that is in form on this planet now to come together to help each other, rise in love. May that love rise in each of you as we close this call. And may you carry that love and share it as beautiful raindrops everywhere. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Until our next gathering, many blessings. And so we're just going to close the recording here.